Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching The Game Mechanics, and today we're going to be discussing titles and how they affect your expectations and or your perception of the story. We got several people with us tonight, including one special guest host. We're going to go ahead and get into introductions.
All right, hey, I'm Al. I'm Corpus Callosum on Fear the Boot.
Hey, I'm Keith from Kicked Into Dice Bags, the Players Edition podcast. Plug.
Woo!
Our one viewer will get a kick out.
Hi, I'm Arthur / Noble Bear on the Vords.
I'm Susan, and this is Jason.
I'm Rooster 1400 on the World of Tanks North American server. Find me cursing and screaming in a burning German heavy tank, most likely.
And I am Sandfunk on the Fear the Boot forums and several other places, or you may know me as Andy, depending upon if we've met in the real world. So tonight's topic got inspired to me by I discovered a random fantasy novel title generator online that just produces the most awesome and or hysterical titles. The title of tonight's episode being one of them, The Anvil of Shadows. It just got me thinking. I know, isn't that just so fucking epic?
Yeah.
It just sounds like an Elder Scrolls item, you know?
I was going to ask if I played that round in Dragon Age Origins. I think I played that.
Yeah, so it just got me thinking about the appropriateness of titles and whatnot, and the giant white wizard-shaped elephant in the room is always Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons is a game where the title just tells you exactly what it's going to be. There's nothing else Dungeons & Dragons could be aside from a high fantasy epic adventure.
Yeah. I guess
So
most
anyone else have...
One that's
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just thinking, most fantasy stuff tends to be fairly descriptive, at least that I'm aware of them. You got like Song of Ice and Fire, that's a little slightly obfuscated, but when you think about the entire thing is ice zombies versus dragons, then you go, yeah, okay, Ice and Fire. I can get on board with that.
The Dragonlance Chronicles, it's about a lance that's really good against dragons. And the quest to find such.
Right, the chronicle of such a quest.
Yeah.
I haven't read them. Is that seriously what they're about?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's about the quest to find the lance, and like lots of them, which are good against dragons.
Yeah,
they even mentioned that in the book. In one of the books, there's a senile wizard. He says something about a dragon lance. He says, as I recall, it was like, what does it look like? Where can we find it? It was like, well, as I recall, it was a lance. And it was quite good against dragons.
Oh, I love when they actually do find one of the things and they start forging new ones, and they're just like these ridiculous, unwieldy, must be strapped down.
Yeah. Well, the whole point was you'd be riding another dragon, which they didn't know because dragons have been out of the world for so long. They didn't even know there were such a thing as good dragons. So there are all these evil dragons flying around, and they have these giant fucking lances. They're like, how do we get up there? They don't have the slightest notion how they can use them in battle because the good dragons haven't revealed themselves yet. And they're all like, one military commander, someone was like, we have 12 of the footman lances and 12 of these lances or whatever. It's like, how are we're not even going to be able to use them.
Yep.
Is there any way that I could convince you, Mr. Dragon, to just maybe fall on this sharp part right here?
Yeah, could you
Just,
come,
if you
here?
could come to
Yeah.
the lance,
They
that would be
would-
fantastic.
I haven't gotten to Dragon Rend yet. Would you mind just landing?
Yeah.
We
They're actually
you
like
could pull
barbed.
Bugs Bunny on and just dressed up in like a dragon bow and a dress.
Oh yeah.
Oh, don't spew on my camera or the laptop.
Or you could totally do a Roadrunner thing, where it's like free dragon food, and then you just set up the lance on like this kind of pulley system right
they
above
kind
the
of-
feeding trough.
There was actually a this big fortification called the High Claris Tower. It was all designed kind of weird because it had multiple entrances, and they're like, what kind of idiot designs a fortification with like 6 big gates all around it? And the reason was it was actually a trap for dragons. In the central chamber there would be a dragon orb, which sends out a irresistible call to dragons, and they automatically go flying towards it through these giant openings that get narrower and narrower until they get to the end, and then the portcullis slams down on their neck, and several pillars along the way have knights with the shorter version of the dragon lance behind it, and they jump out and start stabbing it until it fucking dies.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The only good aspect of the D&D movie was stolen from Dragonlance.
I've never seen the movie.
It's
I
been
really
on
Good God,
Blu-ray.
By the way, someone did an animated version of Dragons of Autumn.
Oh yeah, I own it. Unfortunately.
the voice acting is amazing.
I think it's kind of cool that they got Kiefer Sutherland to play plays Raceland.
And Lucy Lawless plays
This is Goldmoon, I think it was.
yeah.
First Goldmoon. I haven't seen it. I watched bits of it. The whole video is up on
Oh
YouTube.
God.
I watched part of like ending
If you can take that voice cast and just do it again
Yeah.
with better
It's like-
animation.
That's what you do.
with actual animation,
Yeah, just hire the crew who does Legend of Korra, and that's done. That's it.
I would help fund that. Let's get a Kickstarter going right now.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Nickelodeon would do that, right?
Yeah. They do the hell out of that.
But
Can we get,
here's an interesting thing. Speaking of the way titles can change expectations, the way Al was talking about dressing up a boat as a female dragon, that turns like Dragonlance into a very secret The Crying Game pun.
Oh man.
Like all of 5 people are going to get that joke in the universe. I think they're all here. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I don't know what you're talking about.
You lost me, and now I feel
You're
stupid.
the 6th person.
I'm kind of wondering if there's ever been times where titles have been misleading, because I can't think of too many of them. I mean, I've had instances of like where the movie trailer was misleading as to the nature of the movie itself, but the title, I don't know, just
I think most of the titles, they're either descriptive or they're mysterious. Like a lot of the ones that I like are mysterious, or they're like they make you want to pick up the book. Okay, well, what's this about? And
the Dark Shadow Knight intrigue.
no, it's like the Birth of the Firebringer, or and then you've got the Song of the Lioness Quartet, which is actually 4 books, but that's what the story arc's name. So it's kind of like the Song of Ice and Fire, where
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were using the
Except it's a
generator.
quartet, so it'd be
no, I was not using the generator. Those were actual book titles. And
Song of Linus Quartet is like, do they come up together, hunting gazelle, and it's like, hello, 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 hello.
it's about a girl who wants to be a knight, and he switches places with her twin brother, who was being sent to be a knight, but he wanted to be a mage, and she was getting sent off to the school where the mages were, and so they switched places en route, and each got to go do what they want, and it's about her hiding the fact that she's a girl while she's doing knight training.
Yeah, because that story arc hasn't been done 5,000 times.
Yes, this one was very well done with good characterization. And
I can't think of any like.
it helps when all the squires are nobly born. So they each had their own personal servant if they brought one with them. She had a servant from her household there to help her keep the secret. So as long as she didn't go skinny dipping with the rest of the boys, she was good.
Who does that? What group of guys go skinny dipping without?
Hey guys, let's get naked and go get in this
There
pool.
weren't any girls.
Yeah.
There weren't any girls for them to go skinny
So you
dipping
don't
with.
go skinny dipping, is what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is, well, this is an era without swimsuits, so you either get your
Gay people
wet and you
exist.
go in naked.
Or you don't go swimming.
Have existed.
Really hot, you're not going to go swimming
Really
rather than, one of those two options.
Well, if you go swimming, maybe labeled like a warlock or a witch or something like that. So I'll just bypass that altogether.
I can't think of any misleading titles off the top of my head. Give me a few minutes and I might come up with one. But I can certainly think of some that just are completely obfuscating, like Cloud Atlas. Love the book, love the movie, have no clue what the title's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
Silent Hill.
Yeah.
There was not a single fucking hill in any of those games. It ain't that quiet. There's always this ambient music and Pyramid Head.
Neither quiet nor on a hill.
Lord of the Crooked Path. I never did figure out what that was about.
I think the most famous example of a misleading title regarding both fantasy and games would be The Legend of Zelda, just because people immediately thought without reading the manual, that you're playing as Zelda, you know.
What if Zelda was a girl?
Yeah, for the longest time growing up, I thought Link was Zelda. That was Link's name, was Zelda, and so I'm like, oh, okay.
And then one time, I went to get something to drink or something like that, and I came back, and then the story scroll had started. How about that?
Bitch.
I suppose on that merit, the Michael Bay Transformers movies could said to be misleading, at least for that first one, because it takes 2 hours before, in a 2.5-hour film, before Transformers actually show up in their own damn movie.
Fleshlings and the robot friends.
Yeah, it was basically mostly just Shia LaBeouf just acting like a massive spaz and running around, and then suddenly robots. Oh, okay.
That's what the movie should have been titled, Suddenly Robots.
There we go.
Or Shia LaBeouf.
Robots in surprise!
Or Megan Foxiness.
There we go. Me and a friend of mine just referred to all those movies as Megan Fox 1, Megan Fox 2.
and
There
now
were some
she's
robots in it, too. And then
Megan Fox, where she was a demon.
that was a great movie. And then, Shia LaDouche goes on to fuck up the Indiana Jones franchise.
Oh, did you hear they're getting ready to reboot that one?
Yeah.
Again? No!
I don't know. Yeah.
The
Just
point
what?
Stories Hollywood hasn't fucked up yet. They need to stop remaking.
That's
And fuck up something else instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I haven't been
There's
interested in movies lately. I have not been invested in
a
movies.
small chance that they won't fuck it up.
And, I mean, I went to go see the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Mm.
It was
That
very,
was interesting.
yeah. And, I mean, it's just nice to see, an original movie, come out every now and then. But, I mean, I'm just so sick of reboots. It's just
The new Muppet movie, though. I want to see that.
that's not really a reboot. That's just, a Muppet movie. I mean, obviously it's not going to be...
No.
Technically, it's a redo of Great Muppet Caper. I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly. They're doing the exact same thing they did the last time. They're doing just the Muppet movies again. The first one was about them in the theater and being the Muppets.
and assembling the team.
And the second one is a crime caper story. It's the same progression.
It's a crime caper story, but I think it's more like Face Off.
Have any of you seen...
That would be cool. I would totally watch John Travolta and Nicolas Cage running around with Kermits on their hands, just yelling at me.
have any of you seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
Yes.
Oh.
Not yet.
Another title that is absolutely what it sounds like.
Yeah. That was a great movie. That's honestly one of I probably really liked it because it was probably the closest thing to an original movie I've seen in years.
Oh, yeah.
The taking the hillbilly slasher subgenre and flipping it completely around. The
Right.
we're just trying to go fishing. All these teenagers keep killing themselves in front of us. I think it's some kind of suicide pact, Dale. I think we're going to try to kill Allison. We need to protect her. This guy just threw himself in the wood chipper.
I remember that.
Oh man.
It was brilliant. Alan Tudyk covered in blood. Dale, this college kid just chucked himself in the wood chipper. What? Just right in front of me, just jumped head first in the wood chipper. I tried to save him, but he went in head first. I think it's some kind of suicide pact. It's one of the best movies I've seen in years.
I need to get around to watching this because it sounds fantastic.
It's great.
Hilarious. These kids out out camping or whatever. I think Tucker and Dale have captured their friend, and they're these crazy hillbilly slasher guys. Tucker and Dale, the girl that they think they captured, she had slipped and fell into the water and hit her head and didn't come up. So they jumped in, pulled her out. She was unconscious. So they took her back to their cabin.
No, they didn't. Immediately, they hollered to her friends,
Well, yeah.
"Hey, we got your friend!"
But they just see some rednecks going, "We got your friend," and they think they're after. They take off running and screaming. They're like, well, now what do we do? So they take her back to their cabin to recuperate. She thinks the same thing. She wakes up with Dale walking in, and she freaks out, and he's just holding a stack of pancakes. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you must not like pancakes. I'll get you something else." And he comes back with eggs. He's like, "Bacon and eggs, okay?"
Nice.
It's a great movie.
It was really good.
It was hilarious. It's gory, but it's hilarious, and I like gory too. So.
Well, I know the previous episode was about genre mashups, so I'm going to go on briefly here. One of my favorites is the juxtaposition of horror and comedy. Like Zombieland was one of the Zombieland and Shaun of the Dead, two of the best movies to come out in the last 10 years.
Have you seen Warm Bodies yet?
No, I have not. Me and Angie are saving
also,
that.
There's another one. I can't remember the title. It's told from the zombies' point of view. It's really
yeah. You're talking about the one with
yeah.
I can't remember the name of it either. It was really good though.
Yeah,
the whole thing was from the zombies' perspective, trying to conversate. It's like these two zombies. They're in like an airport or something. They'll sit at the bar.
You're thinking Warm Bodies. I'm thinking
that's Warm Bodies.
That's Warm Bodies. The one where they turn into zombies and they think everybody else has something wrong with them.
I haven't seen that one.
Because they're like, all these people are going so fast, and they're like, "What's the matter with everyone?" Here,
but Warm Bodies was really good. If you haven't seen that, It's a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the trailers at least wear that right there on the sleeve. The rotting corpse-smelling sleeve.
Yes.
Yeah. It was really good. The two zombies sitting at the bar at the old airport trying to talk to each other, but they can't really remember anything or form words, so they just... It was really cool. You get the one zombie's internal monologue through the whole thing. It was
nice.
It was actually really good. I wasn't sure if it was going to be good or not, but I
think
really
it's
liked
this
it.
one. What? It didn't go. Yes. The title is Zombies.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. That brings up a good example.
It was really funny.
Has anyone?
Yeah.
What?
Has anyone seen Fido?
I tried to watch the beginning of
have to
Fido.
show.
I'm sorry. It's like I need a microphone or something.
What'd you say, Andy?
Has anyone seen Fido?
No.
I tried to watch that once, but I couldn't really get into it.
Fido is essentially a post-zombie outbreak movie where zombies have been recaptured and domesticated essentially into work animals.
Yeah, it's kind of like the sequel.
But it turns out that it turns out that there's still somewhat intelligent in there, and the story is about Fido, who is a zombie, who is essentially this kid's pet, and it's this bizarre story about human rights and love, and but it's all set up there in the title. Because most of the posters are just the word Fido with a picture of the zombie with his dog collar on.
Man.
And who was playing him? Because it was somebody who you recognize, and whoever played the mom was a name that you'd recognize.
That's why we have the internet, ladies
That's
and
why I'm
gentlemen.
looking.
Quick to the internets.
Zombie Girl, the movie.
Just type in Fido. It'll probably
Yeah.
be faster than
Yeah.
looking for zombie movies on Netflix.
Yeah.
Zombie movie with
Billy
girls.
Connolly was Fido.
Narrowed that down a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah, Billy Collin. Carrie Ann Moss. That's I guess Carrie Ann Moss was the mom.
Ah, I fucking love
Right.
Carrie Ann Moss.
She's awesome.
You know, the makeup is so good. I honestly did not recognize Billy Connolly until
No,
just
neither.
now.
You ever seen the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus?
Oh, that was really good.
I have not yet. I keep meaning to.
I need to watch it
It's
too.
on the list.
Once again, we're okay, trying to think of movies whose title were misleading. Or games or books.
Yeah.
Battlefield Earth. I totally thought that was going to be good.
I knew who wrote the book, so I knew better.
Yeah.
Well, there was, I don't know, there was, the title itself, though, is fairly functional. I mean, it was about an uprising on Earth, so,
I've got an example of the opposite, and the title is just more of a product of its time, is Starship Troopers by Heinlein. The title, to my ears, just because I've grown up in the time that I have grown up with things that I have grown up with, the title to my ears just sounds goofy and stupid. But the book is actually quite fascinating, and it's very good.
Yeah.
The movie,
Things. Heinlein's very good about delving into the human psyche and flipping cultural perceptions.
Yeah.
He is not afraid to tackle taboo subjects.
No.
Yeah. The movie was only kind of to me. I mean, it had its moments, but it was also very much about the directors go in and go, okay, we're going to take all these themes and ideas, and we're going to have them mean the exact opposite thing.
yeah, because the director hated the book, just absolutely hated it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a better version of Troopers done well would be the very short-lived Fox series Space Above and Beyond. It was on for like 1.5, 2 seasons, something like this.
Most of the good shows are.
Yeah, unfortunately. And it did a really fantastic job of not just, conflicts from, this alien threat that appeared very insectoid, but also conflicts from within, as, you had a whole class of people that had been basically vat grown, just flash grown, just so that they could have warm bodies that they could stick a gun in their hand and send them out into the battlefield. And so it created this interesting kind of like conflict that you see like in Blade Runner with like replicants and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that was the original.
I forgot
draft of freaking Star Wars: Attack of the Clones.
Boy, that one.
Man, the original.
That was a
draft.
letdown. It was it was one of those things where my headcanon really was better. Because when I heard the Clone Wars, when I first heard the Clone Wars, I imagined that Jedis themselves had been cloned. And so I imagined a series of one-off fights where Jedis had to confront their, evil doppelganger or something like that. And I thought, well, that could have been really cool.
In the books, it was established that clones created these weird echoes in the Force, so they'd screw with Jedi senses, especially if it was a Jedi who'd been cloned. So, and that was the thing about in the Clone Wars. mentioned in the books, they said it took like 5 years to grow a clone full grown without making them go crazy.
No, 10.
10?
It was 10.
Was it
anything
10?
anything under 10.
Yeah, anything
they'd
under
go
10,
mad.
they'd go crazy. And that
Hmm.
was part of the problem and
You had all
the
these
issue with the
clones
Clone Wars.
going insane and having to be hunted down. That's why cloning was banned, and the Jedi were hunting down clones. That's what the Clone Wars were. All these clones that were made for to be servants, essentially, to do manual labor and stuff, rebelled.
Hmm.
And quite a few of them went mad because they started having to grow them faster and faster to meet demands. So they went anything under 10 years, it imbalances the brain.
Oh, interesting.
That shit insane clones rebelling against the Republic.
That's also way better than
What we actually got?
Here, we're just gonna take Jango Fett and we're just gonna, multiply him out like a million times.
Well, what gets me is even with the Jango Fett plot, the original draft of the Clone Wars movie was a mystery story that had nothing to do with any of that.
Was it actually good?
It was all about Obi-Wan. Yeah, I mean the script is still out there to be read. I'll have to see if I can find it and post it. But it was a mystery story about Obi-Wan investigating this surprise army that had been ordered for the Jedi Council. And it was borderline noir, which made the freaking 50s diner scene actually make sense instead of just being, what the fuck is this doing here?
I read an interesting crossover fic set during the Clone Wars, but yeah. That was somebody who wanted Padme to hook up with Ewan McGregor, and they found out a way to do it without having her screw Obi-Wan, so...
Not like there aren't plenty of them where she does bang Obi-Wan.
Well, yes. But
because she's not a whiny emo bitch.
This was more interesting, though, because they crossed it over with the Ewan McGregor movie.
And then in The New Hope, Obi-Wan's like, the new Sean Connery to Luke Skywalker's Alex Trebek. So I met this girl at Alderaan, right? And I forget how the rest of it goes. The punchline is your mother's a hole.
We meet again, Anakin. Hey, Luke, I fucked your mother.
I'll take laser swords for 500.
A lightsaber? How did you get that in there? I bet you would have found it if you would have searched me.
So writing the title has often been stated as being the hardest part of a game. I know that it's one of the issues where a game or a story or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know it's certainly one of those things that I struggle with. It took me like friggin' 2 weeks to come up with Project Damocles. Jason, you're currently working on a game.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got a title yet?
Jason's campaign.
It just sounds like
it's like one.
Here's the thing too, Andy, is that when you set about to title something, most times it ends up being based on either the central character or the major MacGuffin or the atmosphere you want to create. Sometimes it's based on a theme, and if you don't have enough established of your story or of your setting, or if you don't know what direction it's going in yet, that can be really tough to suss out, especially for a tabletop game where you have a premise and a setting, but maybe you want it based on a character or on a theme or something like this, and those haven't been developed yet because it takes that input from the players stepping up and then interacting with your world to suggest what those themes might end up being.
Personally, I never name my campaigns because I put a lot of work into them. So I only run one at a time, and I've never, up until now, this will be the first one I've ever broadcasted. So there doesn't have to be a title. My title is literally whatever, Jason's campaign, because it's the one I happen to be running at that time. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's never been a title. At most, it's Jason's Dragonlance campaign, or Jason's
Bronze Age campaign.
Yeah, the Bronze Age campaign, or, his Vampire Chronicle or whatever. I've whatever it happens whatever I happen to be running.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I don't know. I kind of start with a name and I kind of build from there. Like, I don't know if I'm just like weird with that. Like when I was coming up for my game from last year to Con Exiled, like I wanted to run like a space game
Yeah.
and isolation. So like, okay, these guys are exiled. Like, and I just kind of went from there. So yeah, like the game I'm working on right now for this Con, it's a little bit more nail on the head. It's the Run the Gateway City, which is basically a post-apocalyptic game set in St. Louis, where the con takes place.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
But I don't know. Like I just work from there, and then I kind of build from there. But I don't usually finish a lot of shit. Like for me, endings are way harder than titles.
Endings,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think,
you get past the middle.
yeah, I
I don't
think
know.
so far as
Like. Go ahead. Al.
It's gotta be hard. There's so many good movies, good shows out there just have horrifically bad endings, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what was that show we were watching for a while with, what's her name? I can't remember. The one with the vampires and the werewolves.
Yes, Van Stevenson.
Yes.
It was
Hemlock Grove.
yes, Hemlock Grove.
Hemlock Grove is a great show.
Ending ever.
Stupid ending. It's great all the way up until like the last episode.
And then everybody gets a horrible case of the stupids,
Yeah,
and then everybody dies.
The ending depends on everyone suddenly. All these intelligent, capable individuals suddenly becoming brain dead carrots.
That's because for most times with movies and TV shows, they don't plan the ending. They don't have a sense of what the narrative arc is going to be. They start it, carry it up for as long as they can, then when the cancellation notice comes in, they slap something together and then call it a day.
Yeah.
It's only in a few instances where a
This
series
is a
of
planned out
movies...
show.
Well,
Planned from beginning to end. It was only supposed to run, the 2 seasons or
I think it was 1 season.
Or was it only one season? It was basically a mini
one
series.
Yeah, it was like a mini series. It was a Netflix original special thing, and so it was.
It was planned from beginning to end,
and it was based on a book, and that is apparently how the book went. They apparently stuck to the book.
really?
wow.
Yeah, this is a case where
interesting.
it would have been better if someone had been like, "I can write a better ending than that."
Because I know for the most part, I mean, some shows just don't get the fair shake that they should. Like Journeyman didn't get the fair shake that it should have, but it did its best job to try to wrap things up in a fairly neat bow at the end of its 13-episode run. You had Carnival, which you could tell that there was probably a three-season arc planned out, but when he found out that he wasn't getting picked up for that 3rd season, the latter half of season 2 ends up becoming this like rush to the goal line.
Yeah.
Just so that the story can mostly still get told competently. But, at least it's there. It's contained. He knew where the story was going. A best example of beginning, middle, and end all just going really fluid is True Detective.
I need to watch that.
Yeah. Everyone keeps talking about it.
It's 8 episodes, an hour apiece. And it's a self-contained story. So it's not a major investment of time. You could basically marathon it in a day, and it is absolutely fantastic. How they play with characters and time, just everything is done really, really well in this show. But yeah, there's that. Some things just, innings can be really tough.
I think in context of like tabletop games, they're a little easier just because I mean, the characters have kind of like built a large portion of the story already, and so just give them something that you think will give them closure, and maybe let them find it on their own.
This is it. I mean, the ending is the win condition. Is because when you're dealing with games, the ending is the win condition. So it's like, did you defeat the big bad? Did you reclaim or restore peace to the valley, or get the MacGuffin back into rightful hands, or whatever? The ending is the win condition, and then you can just kind of half-ass a denouement from there, going, well, you can describe what the characters were like at that point, leave that up to the players or whatever. But yeah, for instance, in the game that I ran, again, the title. I actually kind of like Keith that I started with the title because Inception was big at the time, and I goofed and I said Ineption once. and I go, oh wow, and I just started to think about and also this was during a conversation where one of the theories surrounding the film was about how it was Nolan's thesis on how a movie gets made,
Right.
that each person served that role, and so it occurred to me that it's so I go. But where would that go wrong, or how could that be goofy? And since it was about planting the idea, then I ended up devising a way of like, well, what if it's like a good or a young upstart indie film team, and they're trying to convince an established director to give up films, to dissolve his empire, as it were. And so that's where kind of that came from. So the name came out first, and then the story flowed from that, and then the ending is basically it's the win condition. It's have you successfully convinced, depending on which version of the game, Michael Bay, M. Night Shyamalan, or Uwe Boll, have you convinced these people to give up filmmaking? And there's plots and conflicts and stuff along the way. So, I think that's pretty much like it. If you do that well, then you have a game. So,
see, I because of the household I grew up in a gaming and storytelling household. I have set pieces already put together in my head. In fact, people who've gamed with me have probably realized that I am very fond of the tragic victory. Those of you who were in my Fear the Con,
like the Pyrrhic victory.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, Arthur, you were in my first Fear the Con pony game where you technically won, but you wound up killing a goddess and destroying the moon.
Yeah, that's the thing that happened.
Where you won, but you just feel like a total shitbag afterwards.
Yes, I love the tragic victory.
Well, in fairness, our hands were forced. It came to that the two were inseparable, and so.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of really fucked up rolls at that table. Like mostly on my part. Like I couldn't, my dice just hated you guys, and I'm not one of those who takes shit back. But as far as titling goes, I tend to take a detail of the setting, and I found this just makes it easier for me. With the example of Project Damocles, the whole plot of this of the game revolved around genetic experimentation. I'm like, well, it would need a code name if it's a government something. So what's the code name for this? And one of the original stated side effects of the experimentation is that the subjects would eventually die from use of their powers. So it reminded me of the story of the Sword of Damocles and became Project Damocles. With Mosaic, it's the broken nature of the sky. This black lined, broken horizon just hanging over the planet. Just little things like that. It's the details of the world that I find provide most of the titles that I've run with.
I think I'm going to name my campaign Adventures in Experimental Taxidermy. Since we couldn't think of any misleading titles that will... There, now we have one. Misleading titles. Jason has this game he's running that has nothing to do with taxidermy at all.
Unless you count mummification.
Ooh, Cloverfield.
Cloverfield was
there. You go.
Cloverfield. Yeah,
Cloverfield.
There wasn't a single fucking four-leaf goddamn.
I thought it was like Leprechaun 5 or some shit, man.
That's what big leprechaun.
Well, they were once the tallest of the wee folk.
He was just trying to bring a pot of gold to everyone. People started flipping out and shooting at him.
He started dropping off his lice that made people explode.
Yes. What the fuck was up with that? You get bit by these things and you detonate.
According to the official canon of the series, they are literally like the equivalent of pubic lice.
Pubic lice don't make sense.
Oh no!
Never exploded. My crabs have never made me detonate.
You dated me.
Yeah.
Of course, according to the official canon of the movie, he was also created by a large soda spill.
Yeah. If it would have made sense if it were like a Lucky Charm spill.
Breakfast cereal plus toxic waste equals good times.
Yeah.
Including pubic lice.
That sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon in the early '90s.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Like it would have been perfect, because then you have like, you have advertising of all this popular sugary cereal that these same kids are watching cartoons and going to eat as they're watching this show, and then you have, of course, like action cartoons. You could have made up like a new weird like cereal villain every month or every week.
Soggies may rule.
Yeah, the Soggies could have been like the putties from Power Rangers, you know?
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh God! We're totally gonna have to make this.
Yeah, let's see here.
Radioactive.
Oh, the cereal bowl. Yeah.
This cereal is totally a Sentai series. I can totally see that. I have my $200 copy of Bezo. We can totally run this.
Nice.
Patton with Soggies ahead.
Okay, so if they're the bad guys, if they're the putties, then who are the rangers of this?
Let's
Like,
see.
are we drawing them from different?
Characters of different cereal mascots.
Okay, so it's gonna be like Captain Crunch, obviously.
Well, you'd either make up your own cereal mascot,
Yeah.
or Captain Crunch is obviously the Zordon figure.
Yeah.
And like whenever they're teleporting, they're like, "Crunchitize me, Captain," and then like they just.
Oh,
I
God.
love it. I love it.
We come with so many million-dollar ideas in this show.
Yeah.
And this,
And we just give them away for free.
yeah, the NSA is just feeding
Because
the
our
to
only
top
viewer is
networks
no
right
guest.
now. Like,
and instead of the robot Alpha, you've got Sunny the
I thought it
cuckoo
was a
bird.
dude from China.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was like E-Pink. Who's our
It's,
viewer,
the
Andy?
robot from the Honeycomb commercials.
oh yeah,
Hey,
The
Andy,
bear from the Honeycomb.
Yo.
who's our viewer? Do we have him here?
Oh, we've actually got two on right now. So
Yay!
we
Woo!
doubled our viewership.
Doubled our viewership.
Woohoo!
Ying Ying was the first. Ying Ying will always be the first soldier.
Yay!
so when the revolution comes, he's spared. When we actually spill cereal and toxic waste,
We gotta start
and
using
create our army of soggies.
executioner hoods like Apocalypse.
It's just a spoon stamped on the forehead.
I never knew that was what the Mark of the Beast would actually look like.
Oh, okay. Misleading titles in gaming. I finally thought of one.
Okay.
Shadowrun. Shadowrun is such a generic fantasy title, and
Yeah.
yet it's
Well,
not.
Not
I
really.
don't know. Like,
Adventurers are called shadow runners.
I was about to say, yeah. Like,
About 2 inches.
I think it has to more.
So
Yeah, it has more, I think, to do with like subterfuge and magic, which sounds perfect to me. Kind of.
Yeah.
So,
I'd
like-
actually call that a pretty well descriptive.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can. Yeah. From that perspective, I can definitely agree with that.
It's about shadow runners going on shadow runs.
Yeah.
Dragonlance, I think, was more obfuscative.
Like only because
the
you
Dragonlance
expect it to be
is
about
actually
something like more complicated than what it sounds. No, really, we just stabbed dragons with
you
these
may
sticks.
know, but I have to.
Susan's
Oh,
gonna go
you.
look for one.
I think I've got one.
She thinks she has one.
That's not totally obvious anyway.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm down. I'm down to clown till I'm dead in the ground.
All right.
Who was our second viewer? I didn't. You got distracted.
We're up to 12 subscribers. I need to get a list together. Unfortunately, like half of them are hidden.
us.
They don't share their profile information.
That's because they're NSA agents.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
our team. Yeah, the NSA's got to have nerds too.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was in when I was in the military. There was this group in another platoon that in Iraq they had a regular D&D game going.
Oh yeah, well that's like what was it?
I couldn't join them because they were on opposite rotation than me.
What was the
Oh.
con that we supported?
Ziggurat Con.
Yeah, Ziggurat Con.
Let's see. I'm sure I can totally think of some.
Never mind. Apparently, the title she was looking for is in fact descriptive of the book.
Let's see.
Well, it was an RPG.
Oh, it was an RPG. Which RPG?
Mouse Guard. I thought the title was.
Oh. Never heard of that.
Wait, what's that?
Mouse Guard.
Guard?
Oh, Mouse Guard's awesome, and that's all right there on the sleeve. You're mice, and you're guarding the realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, what about burning?
This?
Ages ago.
Did we?
Yeah.
Say again, Arthur.
Burning
Hey,
Wheel.
what about burning wheel?
RPG too.
Oh,
Burning Wheel. That's a good one.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, does that
that's a
refer?
very good example. It tells you nothing about the system at all.
What's that?
Well, there's
Burning
wheels,
Wheel.
and you're burning. Burning Wheel.
There you
That
go.
just sounds like like a scene from a Terminator movie.
Sounds like a Western.
Oh yeah.
Like get the wagons in a wheel and light them on fire.
There you go.
Yeah.
Down in a burning ring of fire.
I found a book. I found a book title that has nothing to do with what's in the book.
Ah.
Nice.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
It's called Get
Ooh,
Off
there's a
the
good one.
Unicorn.
Get
Say
off.
what?
the unicorn.
It says Get Off the Unicorn, and there are no unicorns in the book.
Is the unicorn a metaphor for something? Like it's the other white stallion.
No, it's,
Yeah. Like
Unicorn, the other white meat.
no, there's
like-
dragons and there's some other things, but it's it's one of the collections of sci-fi stories by various authors.
None of them having unicorns at all.
No.
There we go. Get off the
No.
unicorn.
No,
Well, are they like authors who previously did fantasy and this is their first foray into sci-fi?
no, it's Anne McCaffrey, Ben Bova, Roger Elwood, let's see, George Hay, Robert Hoskins, something by Marvel Comics. Roger Elwood.
Well, still,
and
even if
another
that
Anne
were the
McCaffrey.
case, it'd be a cool title, but it's still not necessarily descriptive of what's actually in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something you have to read the book and go, oh, these are all fantasy authors doing sci-fi. Get off the unicorn. You know, one of those.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's tough to think of titles that are so off the grain for like RPGs and fantasy and stuff like that. I mean, since each world can have like completely different like rules and factions and stuff like that, they kind of have to be blunt to kind of get the point across of what the game's all about.
Yeah.
Like Birthright, you get powers from your blood.
Birthright. Whatever
Yeah.
happened to Birthright?
Innominee's probably the least,
Innomine is probably one of the
even
most obvious ones until you open it up and realize it's about angels and demons. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's
The name
Latin-y and sounds like the Bible.
Yeah.
Actually, Innomine is a fascinating setting. I do
It
love
really is. I'm sorry I never got that game together. I let you down.
It's all good. It'll happen.
Someday.
One day, maybe someday.
eventually. Like, by the time the boys are old enough to play with us.
There you go.
A non-gaming example, I guess, could be Watership Down.
Yeah, nothing to do with that What? Oh God.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Well, I think Watership Down was the name of like one of the places they were at one point, but still, it's just like there's no way you can infer what that that thing is possibly about from the
Yeah,
title.
the development and tear down and then rebuilding of an entire civilization that just happens to be based on rabbits.
and you learn interesting things about rabbits when you read it too.
Like they will straight up kill a motherfucker is what they'll do.
Yep.
Well, anyone who's seen Monty Python knows that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just the big pointy teeth like this.
And they all laughed at him, and
Look at the bones, man.
Look at the bones! Jesus Christ! Oh, I told you, but no, it's just a little bunny.
yeah.
We just watched that like the other night. So.
Nice.
Nice.
I love that goddamn movie.
Worse.
Dude, this generator
I've
is
still got the.
ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I love the generator. I was about to say I've still got it open, and I'd like to just like read off a few titles and see what we can infer about what story may be from there.
Go for it.
Good idea.
The seventh twin.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Totally a Pratchett book. That's totally a Pratchett book about.
It
wizards.
is.
Yep.
Yes.
Sir Terry, are you one of our viewers?
Yes.
You never
Part of
know.
a group of septuplets.
We only have like 2 viewers, but
And
one of them
they were the last out of the womb.
Pratchett.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't it?
I really doubt it, but that would be awesome.
I just heard our 2 viewers are actually Ian McKellen and Terry Pratchett.
Oh my God, I would just die.
Nice.
I would just die.
So we
No, I would feel bad.
Yes.
There's just no way. Like they don't have anything better to do than let's do this.
They need to take a break from being awesome to come
Well,
watch us.
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Maybe we're
Yeah.
providing a good service to the world in that sense.
stumble across it in the middle of the night while, dealing with a bout of insomnia.
Okay, so here's one.
Look at
Apprentice
this diamond in the rough.
Well, go ahead for that, Andy. What?
Apprentice of Wednesday.
Apprentice of Wednesday.
That could be an Adams Family movie.
Ah, damn.
Oh yeah.
Nice. I would. Yeah, totally.
An Adams Family porn.
There's a lot of that. The one with Ron Jeremy is hands down the best. So,
I'm sorry, what was the name? I'm going to look this up later.
God, just talk Ron. I'm sure it's actually as simple as it's probably like Uncle Fester's Fuck Fest. I think it's something like that because all I know is Ron Jeremy plays Uncle Fester.
Oh, God.
Hilarious.
I would
Yeah.
have thought for sure he would have played Gomez Adams.
Oh
but-
no,
It's
it's Uncle
Called
Fester.
the
and it's
Madams Family. Why, Internet? Why?
Why not? Now, what was the name of that movie where Ron Jeremy's dick comes alive and starts fucking people?
Oh, One-Eyed Demon or One-Eyed Monster.
Yes,
something like
One-Eyed Monster. I think that was it. It was a great movie.
Yeah, where it's like lightning strike or something, and then his
No, it was an alien. An
Alien.
alien zotted Ron Jeremy's
that's
dick,
right.
jumped off of him, and started fucking.
I love there's this one clip. It may be from one of his shoots. It may be some candid prank that they're pulling on a reel or something like that. But it's like Ron Jeremy just like in this weird majestic sort of setting you would stage some porns in, just under a waterfall in the middle of this well vegetated area, and he's sucking his own dick. And this dude comes by. He's like in some tourist stuff. He's like, "What the fuck are you sucking your own dick for? You're Ron Jeremy. Start fucking bitches." he looks up at him like with his own dick in his mouth, and he just keeps going. It's one of the best things I've ever seen. It's like right up there with ass pennies.
Oh my God, Ass Pennies. There's the title for you.
That is a really great title because it's like
Right
for the
out.
first half of it, you are like, okay, is this called ass pennies? And these are like two brothers discussing becoming successful. What does this have to do with anything? And then suddenly it's about putting pennies in your ass. And like, and it's just it's one of the best things you could do with 4 minutes of your life ever.
Oh man.
It's twice the population of Detroit.
But Oh God.
Oh my gosh.
Ridiculous.
It sounds like the common factors in what makes for a good title might be one, that it's functional. It tells you something about what the game is actually about, and most things are. Two, it's got some kind of like either intrigue angle or it just fun. It just sounds fun, or it just sounds ridiculous. And it just projects that flavor. Like ass pennies are absurd, but you crack up when you hear it, and it makes you interested in maybe wanting to see ass pennies or
Yeah.
What is this about?
No, actually, 100% of the time, when I say okay, like when for whatever reason, I'm struck to I'm reminded of ass pennies due to something someone says. I'm like, oh my God, you have your computer open? You've got to type in ass pennies on YouTube and watch it. And they're like, I am not watching anything called ass pennies. And that has never not been the reaction.
Ass.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But
Zombie ass toilet of the dead.
I've actually I saw some Japanese horror movie trailer that was basically that. I can't remember if that was actually the name or not.
It probably was.
But yeah, like when I'm naming stuff like campaigns, I do like to make it kind of if it's silly, I like to make it a bit obfuscating, as we've discussed. Like I ran this very thankfully short-lived game where we like the players were like trapped in fanfiction.net and they didn't know.
Oh God.
And I called it at the corner of 4th and Wall. And
I remember this game.
and it was it's because I mean, like, obviously the 4th wall has to be eroded at some point if these characters are going to interact on any level. You have to be aware that there's a transparent boundary between the audience and the source material. So
yeah.
And the other game I have, which is a D&D game, is called Calesta because it's the city you start out in, and it's a major plays a major role in the world. Now, of course, that said, I mean there are places in the world where the most it could have connections to Calesta is maybe very extended trade routes, but it's just I just call it that because it's a place where a lot of things happen and it's a place you start.
I mean that's the foundation behind the title of Greyhawk.
Yeah.
Most porn memes don't always have great names. I mean, some of them are
Porn
just
memes?
like two girls, one cup. Like, at least it tells you what the major components are. And then you've got Human Centipede. Human Centipede is descriptive, a bit of intrigue. You're kind of wondering exactly how that's going to play out, so maybe you watch it or something. But then you get stuff like Goatse, which has nothing to do with goats.
Or Lemon Party or Kids in the Sandbox. Nothing to do with what is actually contained within these sites.
Yeah.
However, I have to say, the one that nails it on the head, no pun intended, kind of pun intended, is meatspin.com. Because it's like, I saw it one time advertised as like, get the real spin on the meat industry. Like, it's trying to mud rake
Live recreate.
like the packing industry or something like that.
Oh, I thought it was a bunch of guys twirling their dicks around.
No, it is. But it was advertised by someone as like some kind of like meat conspiracy or something. And of course they click on it and like, you spin me. And I think it's amazing. It's one of my favorite old internet things. But yeah, like I like porn with confusing titles because it's like they sort of Trojan horse it on you. Like you're expecting one thing, or perhaps not knowing what to expect, but maybe on the fringe of your mind you're kind of aware it could be porn, but then suddenly it's like ultra porn because it's not stuff you're even like remotely interested or would have ever been curious about, but it's there now. like what was it? A Kids in the Sandbox?
Yeah, that
this
was.
guy shoving things in their dick. And that's not what you would infer at all from Kids in the Sandbox. You know, you're thinking, well, maybe this is like some kind of weird roleplay pedophilia or something. Maybe this is like, you know, who knows what the fuck this could be. Maybe it's about like poop in the sandbox because kids find poop in the sandbox, but really it's just like girls acting like really young and getting pooped on. I see you can infer things from that, but not putting things in your dick and there's no sandbox.
I think a fantastic example of that is not that exact situation, but one that
Keith
Fear
has
the
a look
Boot
on his
actually
face like he's
introduced
looking
me
this
to
up
was
right
Shake
now.
That Bear.
Oh, I love Shake. The same thing with Meat Spin. You know, it's like it contains Meat Spin, absolutely. But like, were you really expecting like, you know, what looks to be a transvestite, you know, getting pounded in the ass and his/her dick just spinning around in this perfect circular motion? Like Shake That Bear, it starts like a hunting video because it kind of is, and it turns into a porn, and like that's the twist. I'm actually convinced that the guy filming it was and says, "Yeah, Shake That Bear" is M. Night Shyamalan, because that was an ingenious twist. This is like right before we did The Village, and like that's where it started to sort of go downhill. In fact, it's probably shot on set at The Village because it's similar scenery. So you know, I'm just saying.
Oh man.
Disapprove.
I know, like people hate it when I speak the truth, but they can't unknow it now. You know.
What has been seen cannot be unseen.
Even if you really, really wish it could.
Yes.
Oh man. I think we've fairly well covered this topic. I enjoy the conclusions we've come to, and I enjoyed some of the titles we came up with. One more.
Yeah. Like, are you going to give us one from the random thing and then let us infer what it's about? Awesome.
Yes.
Banished Fever?
That sounds like a disco album.
Doesn't it?
Wait. Was it Banished
Vampire
Fever?
in the Face.
Vampires in Space?
Vampire in the Face.
Vampire in the Face.
I'm down with that one.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I don't know.
When she kept getting blood.
Yeah. You ever seen the movie Dororo?
No, I've not.
No.
Great movie. It's kind of like
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. It's almost like a live action anime. I'm pretty sure it's actually based on a manga. I haven't looked it up to find out. But it's really funny. It's really good. It's this warlord sells his makes a deal with a group of 48 demons to get the power to rule the world or whatever. And what they ask for is his newborn or about to be born son's body. So the child is born without eyes or legs or whatever.
Lots of bits.
Yeah, most of his bits missing, but he's still alive and he's abandoned. This shaman finds him and makes him like a fake sort of Frankenstein body. And he goes around killing the demons that took his body parts. And each time he kills with the sword in his arm. And each time he kills one, he gets one of the body part that they had back. But he ends up with this hot little chick thief who it becomes like his sidekick. But every time he kills a demon, they explode in a shower of blood and gore. And it always hits her. She always walks in right as it hits her in the face. And usually she's opening her mouth to say something, and the blood and guts all gets in her mouth. And she's always like,
Oh man.
I love that concept. That concept sounds fascinating.
Yes, there's been knocking at the door.
Damn it.
If you've got a bunch of shit missing, I mean, it seems like, becoming a warrior, probably not a skill you're going to pick up, honestly.
He had magical limbs. He had magical limbs and body parts. So he functioned. He just functioned strangely.
Okay. I'm trying to imagine like Helen Keller as a quadriplegic, and I'm not seeing somebody terribly fight worthy.
You gotta remember the Kung Fu blind fighting movies.
It sounds like it's like Breaking Free. Somebody please help me or something like that.
And deaf and missing limbs and
Well, that's where the magic comes in.
Yeah,
that actually
like I said,
reminds
officially
me.
this is based on a manga or something. This isn't.
That's where the magic comes in. Plus, he's
I mean,
undefeatable.
he's fighting demons. You know?
Yeah, he's undefeatable because most of his his vital internal organs are missing because they're in a demon somewhere. Like his heart's gone. He gets stabbed through the heart several times. It doesn't kill him because his heart's not there.
Oh, interesting.
That's fascinating.
It's a good movie.
It
Yeah.
actually reminds me of a video game concept I was working on a while back that was essentially like a female Frankenstein-style creation where she's fighting like hordes of classic movie monsters, and as she defeats like the boss of each horde, she like replaces a portion of her body with one of his, so she gains corresponding powers to that.
Oh,
Never figured out what the
interesting.
title for it.
Oh, that reminded me.
Like
they're
an undead Mega Man.
redoing.
Yeah, essentially.
They're redoing Frankenstein. Like they're doing like a Frankenstein movie, and only it's like Van Helsing.
Yeah, I saw that. That was weird looking.
Is that
I Frankenstein?
Was it
Yeah,
Flesh for Frankenstein or Flesh of Frankenstein or whatever?
Flesh for Frankenstein.
Flesh for
It was
Frankenstein.
funny.
Boy,
Best
that
line
sounds like
in
a
the movie
porn
ever.
title.
Yeah.
Best line in any movie ever. Sometimes, in order to understand life, you have to fuck death in the gallbladder.
Wow.
In the gallbladder, that's what makes it.
I like that.
He's making he's like into eugenics, I guess, wherever. So he's making the perfect man and the perfect woman, and they're gonna make perfect little Aryan babies. The thing is, he didn't just get a separate brain. He took like this whole guy's head, head, brain, and everything. Unfortunately, he was gay.
Uh-huh.
Hilarious. So he won't fuck the perfect woman. But at one point, while he's still stitching together the perfect woman, he's apparently fucking her in one of her incisions when Igor walks in and wonders what he's doing. And he's like,
Damn.
sometimes, Igor, in order to understand life, you must fuck death in the gallbladder. Completely deadpan. I have no idea how many times he had to do this take to just not laugh when he fucking said that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Best line in any movie ever. I dare you to come up with this quote something better.
That's pretty.
That's pretty much tops, man.
Yep.
You said the title was Flesh for Frankenstein?
Flesh for Frankenstein. It is terrible. So terrible, it's awesome.
But you still have one of those titles you wanted to throw out there?
Oh,
I don't know.
hold
I
on.
almost think that we should just end on that.
Yeah, I think fucking death in the gallbladder is a good note. So, I want to thank you guys for joining me again. Al, Keith, Noble Bear, Susan, Jason. This has been a fantastic episode. Thank you guys, and to our now 2 viewers, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, viewers.
Yay!
Yay.
Have a good night, folks.